G'day everybody, what I'm going to look at now is the valve body and how to disassemble it from a ZF5HP 19 transmission. Once it's out of the transmission itself, my suggestion is you make some sort of stand like this so it sits like this. The undersides of here are all finely machined for oil flow through to the clutches in the transmission, so it's really important that you don't damage any of those. The first thing we're going to do is just disconnect the electrical connections to the solenoids at the front. To do that, all I'm going to do is just get my fingernail in underneath there and then just wiggle that back and forth, and each of those will just pop straight off. Now, so I'm going to pull all those off. It's still going to be connected to the one that's underneath there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this smaller valve body down the bottom here. The way the valve body is set up is that there's a large channel plate which exists in the middle, a spacer plate in between, and bolted to each of the sides there are two large valve bodies on the bottom. That's obviously the top but upside down. And there are two smaller ones on the underside. So to remove the small one on the underside here, I'm just going to remove the 4 bolts. Put my hand underneath there and just hold that. And that's what they call the upper rear valve body. It's just a small one, and it has that electrical connector there. That would obviously be removed in the same manner. There's a couple of little clips here, so you pull that one off, remove the lead out of that one, and then the whole electrical harness can be pulled away. The next thing I'm going to remove is the other small valve body on the other side. It's one that exists underneath here. There are 7 bolts along here, so I'll remove those. Now with these 2 bodies that are on the underside, what I'm doing is just removing all but 2 of the bolts, and then I'm just going to put my hand underneath and then remove the final 2. Obviously you don't want those to fall down and get damaged. And there's that upper front valve body. The next thing we're going to do is remove all the solenoids. There are a couple of little clips here that hold them in. Pretty simple process of just unscrewing those. When those bolts come out, that clip just pops straight out. And now you can just pull these out. Now there are two different types of solenoids. There are the green ones on the outside, they're called MV solenoids. They're an on-off type solenoid, there's no graduation in between. They just pull straight out very easily. You can see there's a little sort of sieve type thing on them, but there isn't an O-ring around the outside. So they just slot in and out quite easily. These three solenoids are called the EDS solenoids. They're actually ones that aren't just on and off, they're graduated. So they are, I guess, variable. Now these have an O-ring, so they can be reasonably tight. If you have some problems pulling them out, you can see the O-ring in there. They look quite similar, except they've got that O-ring there. You can actually get a screwdriver in here and just gently lever those out and they'll come out very easily. On the that upper control body that we pulled off before, this one here is another EDS solenoid, so it's one with an O-ring on it. So easily just remove that one Torx bolt, remove the little clip that holds it in place, and just pull it out exactly the same as the other one. Pretty simple. Now what we're going to do is remove the top two bodies. Remove this one first. So again, I'm just going to remove all of these bolts. There's a few for this one that need to come off. That one can stay back on. That was just for the filter. And with all those bolts out, that just pulls straight off like that. So there's the, what would that be? That would be the rear lower valve body. And finally, for the last one here, it's only the one single bolt that needs to come out. There's actually a large dowel on the other side over here that you, as you lift this up, you need to push up on it to keep everything aligned properly, otherwise it won't actually come off. There we go. And there's that front lower control body. You can see there's the piston for the manual selector valve. And now once all that is out, you can see we've got the spacer plate. There's lots of holes and everything for all the stuff that's underneath it. Underneath the spacer plate is a gasket. When you pull this out of the transmission initially, there's going to be oil everywhere, so be careful, you're just going to get filthy. But especially when you pull this thing off, what you'll notice is that there's lots of little plastic pieces, etc. underneath this. When you pull it over, do it nice and gently, because a lot of them that sit in the actual piece underneath in the channel plate, they're actually going to stick to this as you rotate it over. So just put it down, work out where everything needs to go, and put it back in the right position. Okay, so there's the gasket there on the other side of the spacer plate. You can see all these little plastic things on the inside here. They would actually be stuck to these pieces over here, so work out where it needs to go and plonk them back into the correct position on the other side. And here is our channel plate. There's lots and lots of little gizmos in here, little orifices that meter oil to different parts of the transmission. It's pretty amazing. I'm not going to pretend that I understand what's going on. If you buy a basic refurbishment kit for this, there are actually these little black plungers here. To actually get these out, if you just got a tiny drill bit and pushed out, there's a little hole on the other side here, and if you push from the underside here, you'll just pop those out. Apparently they get damaged over time, and they're easily replaced. So there you go, there's the valve body for a 5HP19.